Man, we're going to go right on into this, man. I just got off the Brandon Tatum show. My blood pressure's high, and I don't even got high blood pressure. He would have so much truth going on the show. But, man, before I start, just the other day, I was talking to a close friend of mine on how pissed off I am at him for red pilling me. Before he exposed me to all this political, nonsensical bullcrap that's going on with these liberals, leftists, and regressives, my life was so peaceful. It reminds me of the clip in The Matrix when he was talking to the guy that pretty much was a Benedict Arnold, a Judas that sold out everybody else and tried to kill Neo in the very beginning when he was eating the steak. He said he realized that the steak was fake, but he still was eating it, enjoying it, because he realized that his ignorance was bliss. And people, I'm telling you, my ignorance was bliss. But now that I've been exposed, I have to call these people out, and I have to continue to tell the truth. We have the batshit, outraged, liberal, Democrat talking heads and people on the spew and liberals, and the list goes on, spewing more rhetoric, racism, and bigotry on national TV and on stages to thousands of people. They're so unhinged. So I ain't going to take long. I'm going to go right on into it. The first one up is Beetlejuice. The cross-eyed, cockeyed, Dumbo Beetlejuice.
Now we know what happened with the Supreme Court yesterday. And if you read Clarence Thomas' concurrence, he said, thank you, fuck Clarence Thomas.
Oh, thank you, Clarence Thomas!
He thinks we are going to stand idly by when they take our rights, our right to marry, our right to have children, our right to...
First of all, he hasn't taken anybody's rights. What he did, along with the other justices on the Supreme Court, was ruled on things that should have been fixed years ago. Roe versus Wade should have been done 50 years ago. What they did was follow the law and follow the Constitution to the T. They put it back into the state's hands and let the people vote. Let the people vote in a politician or a representative that represents their constituents to pass the laws that represent their lifestyles, their values, and their principles. He didn't ban or take away nothing. What she's mad about is his opinion, when he's saying we also need to reverse all this other crap. Gay marriage, none of that stuff should have been at the federal level. It needs to be at the state level. Let the people vote in what they want for the state laws to be. So we got her spewing more rhetoric and lies. But they're upset at Clarence Thomas because he's one of the real bros. He's telling it how it is. He's telling it the way it should be. He's following the Constitution and the law. He's probably one of the best Supreme Court justices we've had. He's the longest one sitting in the land. And he judges fairly. And he's conservative, and he stands on his values, and he lets them know you will not be bullying the Supreme Court. You won't be influencing our decisions. So she's up in arms and mad about it. But what I'm pissed off about is, correct me if I'm wrong, put it in the comments. I have yet to see a conservative or a Republican representative be unprofessional and go up on stage and drop the F-bomb, cussing people out, spewing more rhetoric. It's amazing to me the outcries and the unhinged behavior from these people. We got Beetlejuice, one of the worst mayors in the United States history, literally up on stage, unhinged, dropping the F-bomb because it affects her personal interest. And he ain't banned nothing. It's just more spew and another attempt to try to gain influence so she can try to get reelected, which I hope her constituents are not dumb at this point, that she is not fit to run and do the job, because Chirac is out of control. Man, I'm never going to understand it. Up next is another one that they were going in spewing more rhetoric is the spew. Once again, these hags go on here spewing more bigotry and rhetoric. Whoopi Goldberg spewing more bull crap.
And you do not have the right, based on your religious beliefs, to tell me, because what's next, as Clarence Thomas is signaling, they would like to get rid of contraception. Do you understand, sir? No, because you don't have to use it.
But that's crazy.
They don't have to use it.
Everything's on the menu now.
Contraception's on the menu. Gay marriage is now probably going to be overturned. Affirmative action is
we
no
were
more.
not in the Constitution either.
Well,
we were not even people
he is
in
saying
the Constitution.
nothing is precedent anymore.
Well,
Wait,
you
wait,
better
but
hope
Clarence,
that they don't come for you, Clarence, and say you should not be married to your wife who happens to be white. Because they will move that. And you better hope that nobody says, you know, well, you're not in the Constitution, you're back to being a quarter of a person.
We're back to the 50s.
Because that's not going to work either.
See, this is why I have a deep disdain for people that represent liberalism, people that represent the party for regressiveness. I don't say progressive because you got to be progressing. Regressive. This is why I have a deep disdain for y'all that vote Democrat and support it and are so romantically in love with this demonic, hateful bigotry party. You're so blind, you have a cognitive dissonance that your brain is at war with the facts. These people are evil and they are bigots and they tell lies and they spew rhetoric, racism. I cannot believe he brought this man's wife into the fray and talked bad about the man's wife because she's white, displaying her bigotry towards white folks, her anti-white bullshit that most of you black KKK collective group think uphold in your hearts. But she's a lie. First of all, she said he's basically he's hinting to get rid of contraceptives. That's a lie. All the man did was judge off the law and the Constitution. And what he said in his opinion is correct. It should be at the state levels. It doesn't need to be at the federal level. We need to start overturning all lot of the other bull crap we got on the books that was passed through liberal Supreme Court justices. But where she went wrong and is a lie, and I have to keep beating this in people's head like a drum. Nowhere, show me in the Constitution where it says black folks was not human and wasn't recognized as human. Once again, this is another ignorant fool spewing rhetoric that probably didn't even read the Constitution. Whoopi Goldberg is so dumb. Like Dennis Prager says, they are thugs. She is a thug, and the rest of those old hags on that show are thugs. They are thugs. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that black folks wasn't human. What they keep referring to is the 3/5 compromise. Must I break down the 3/5 compromise once again? Those great white men, them pale-skinned white men that wrote that withstand the time document that is till this day is tearing the liberals up, these left-wing batshit crazy liberals up. Them great white men that wrote that Constitution, it was like they were before their times. They knew in order to create a union to make the United States, they had to come up with some type of compromise from the South. Racist ass South, because they had slaves in the South. And they based it off of consensus, a count of the population. And because they had slaves, all they had to do is keep going buy more slaves to raise their consensus, which would get them more representatives to represent them at the House to be able to pass more laws to keep this thing going, which was slavery. So they said, all right, in order that the country was so divided, by them doing this 3/5 compromise, it made things balanced and even. Nowhere in there did they recognize black folks as not being human. What they did was said, all right, to make this fair so that we can make this deal close and make this the United States of America, a free country that will emancipate slavery, right? Because that's what they did. These great white men, they're white abolitionists. What they did was they said, all right, in order for us to make this deal work, we're going to make a 3/5 compromise because they got a bunch of slaves and they'll just keep buying more slaves so to raise their consensus of the population count so that they can get more representatives to represent people that want to keep slavery going, to keep the power going, to keep the money coming. They said, all right, slaves will be considered 3/5 of a person to make it even. If the slave was free, they are counted as a person. But you didn't read that in the Constitution because you're ignorant, Whoopi Goldberg. You are spewing more division in this country and spewing lies. Just like you thought Adolf Hitler's acts wasn't about race. You clown. You spew rhetoric and you say things that divide people in this country. So people like me got to come behind you and clean it up and show that we don't all think like you. We don't all have hatred and anger and resentment in our hearts. We actually stand on our values. I can't stand Whoopi Goldberg, man. But the list goes on. What I'm going to show you now is more liberalism. But this is the party. This is the party that you represent. This is the party that y'all are so romantically in love with, the Democrats. I don't want to hear, oh, but the 60s and you didn't live through the 60s and then there was some type of switch. There wasn't no damn switch. I don't want to hear about the 60s. All right, if I entertain it, okay, it's the 60s. The Republicans are racist. What about now in 2022? Can you discern between the two from the 60s and 2022? Do you know how to discern between the two? What are your values now? What are your values in 2022? Because the party that you represent, the party that claims that they are anti-racism and they're fighting for social justice and equality and they want diversity and inclusion and all this gay pride parade stuff. Yeah, that party that you're so romantically in love with. Yeah. This is the party that spews racism right in your face. Yeah, the same party that told you if you don't vote for Democrats, you ain't black. The same party that uses euphemism and condescending rhetoric saying somehow black people don't know how to use the internet. Yeah, the same party that says, black folks don't even know how to get an ID. Yeah, the same party that tweets out using the N-word, referring to Clarence Thomas as an Uncle Tom and an N-word. You don't believe me? Here we go. We got Ryan Winkler. He's a liberal Democrat tweeting out, Supreme Court of the United States, VRA majority is 4 accomplices to race discrimination and 1 Uncle Thomas. Marriage decisions may blur courts backsliding. This is the party that you are romantically in love with. Literally out in the open, calling a black man a derogatory name. But you got a nerve to point the finger at Republicans and conservatives and try to demonize them and vilify them as if there was a switch somehow, sometime in history, which there wasn't. It's been debunked so many times. And somehow something happened in the 60s. But right now in 2022, that racism that you feel is always lurking around the corner, it's right there in the party that you're so romantically in love with. They're out in the open disrespecting your black representation. This is why I don't like you social justice warriors. Y'all are fake. Yeah, y'all fake. Right here in your face, you got white liberals disrespecting the black man, calling him an Uncle Tom. This is how the white liberal work. It's been in y'all's face the entire time. You think that that's as cool? No, the list goes on. We got another white liberal. I'm sorry I didn't blur it out. I'll try to blur it out. John Corbett, Clarence Thomas, just another dumb N-word. But this is the party, you claim that it's the Republicans doing this. You claim that it's conservatives. They're the party of racism. They're the party of racism. No, it's the party that you are so romantically in love with that's literally up here disrespecting and calling a black man at the highest court of the land, Clarence Thomas, Uncle Tom, and uses the N-word. No, he ain't the only one. Here's another one. I seen hers. She was calling him all kinds of N-words, and she's deleted it since then. I couldn't find it because I had to hurry up and get this out in the ether. But here she is, and this is how pissed off I am. Drop the N-word, and people react. I'm not racist either, just making a point. You're not making no point, honey. All you're doing is shedding light on what we all know that lean right. You guys are racist, white liberals, and the black KKK collective groupthink has adopted your ideology and thought process. Yeah. Like Margaret Sanger. I'm going to use y'all's words. Like Margaret Sanger with eugenics and systemic racism through abortion. Yeah, y'all are the feeble-minded of our society. Like weeds. Yeah. That's y'all. That's the party that you're so romantically in love with. You think that this is right? It's wrong. I can't believe this is happening. I don't know, y'all. I've ranted enough. Clarence Thomas is the longest sitting Supreme Court justice on there. You black liberals are always talking about black representation. Here we are, a man at the highest level of court in the land, and you guys disrespect this man. Samuel L. Jackson, too, calling the man Uncle Tom because you're mad and you have intolerable behavior because something don't go the way you want it to go. I hope more states ban this stuff. You guys need to take responsibility. I seen a meme where they said if you can put a mask on for 2 years, you can put a condom on. And with that being said, it's your boy Craig Long 45. If it's your first time listening, please subscribe, like, comment. I answer all my comments. Just give me some time. I get through them all. I appreciate you guys watching. Please share so that we can continue to save this country because we truly have a country to save. It's your boy Craig Long 45. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, oi.